in the mess, yeah.
This is my part 3 to some pet peeves. Okay, yesterday I was chilling out, maxing, relaxing and shit, and then I was seeing some comments in like a comment section. I don't even remember whose channel I was watching, and they were just like, the comments were going, oh well, if people put their life on the internet, they should be open to what people have to say. And that's true, everyone's like allowed their opinions. Like, that's pretty much the premise of my channel, freedom of speech, like respectfully though. So that's definitely what inspired today's video. It was a pet peeve of mine to see that type of comment, because people assume freedom of speech, you know what I'm saying, means being an asshole or just like horrible and rude. And you know what I'm saying, also digging into like other, commandments and shit like that. Like when people say guns kill, and then it's like, nah, guns don't. Pick yourself up and shoot people, so God forbid. That's what I'm doing today. I'm doing pet peeves, and it's part 3 because I did part 1 and 2 already. The first one obviously would be people feeling like just because people share their lives with people, they have to like they have to endure heinous backlash or heinous opinions that don't really feel like opinions, but it feels more like scrutiny and things like that. Or just, you know, and especially when they hide behind like gray pictures and like it's just things they would never really actually say to the people that they're watching so hard, you know what I'm saying, and obsessed with. Basically, it's like, I mean, yeah, people can have opinions and things like that. There's things that I want to say. I don't leave comments on people's channel or like video or picture or whatever story, whatever it is, just because I feel like I want to say that. Some things are more constructive in terms of criticism versus like telling somebody what they should do with their life, or what they need to do, or what they shouldn't or shouldn't have done. I mean, yeah, people have opinions, like that's a human thing. It's just, it don't make sense to me when people just really have to be mean to others that they don't know, or they think they know somebody just based off of what they're seeing. Like, that's just given. And you know, there's people that kind of lash out in public and things like that because of their so-called freedom of speech, but that doesn't mean be a disturbance to like people around you. Like, you can have fun, you can say what you need to say if it's useful and like helpful, or just something that needs to be said. Like if it's gonna help people, you know, feel less alone or like less misunderstood and things like that. The next one, is assuming that being knowledgeable means you have all the answers, or people think that you think you know everything just because you're like knowledgeable around certain things, or just because you're knowledgeable about a particular thing means that you should behave perfectly around that subject or topic. So like, for example, if somebody makes like, let's say food review videos, they should know how to cook, or they should know how to like make everything under the sun and down at the bottom of the sea. And it's like, having like opinions and general knowledge about things doesn't mean that that person thinks they know everything, or thinks that they're always right, or thinks that they can never do wrong or make mistakes, and they're allowed to make mistakes and be human. Sometimes where you notice some people will listen to you and take your advice, or they appreciate things that you have to say, and then if they see you doing something questionable or like off kilter or just not to the T, then everything that you've said is what's the word? Everything that you've said about your life or who you are or like what you stand for is just a facade, or it's just a mask. And it's just like, like that saying, yeah, parents tell you to do what they say, not as they do. And I know that means I tell you things not because I'm trying to be bossy or messed up and controlling, but because probably at one point I was doing those things, or I was met with certain consequences for things, and I would hate to see you go through that for real. Basically, just because someone's giving advice about something doesn't mean that they're not actively learning or going through the bouts around that thing they're talking about. Like, it also doesn't mean that their life should be perfect and they should be this perfect person for you to accept advice they have. Like, for example, people that have relationship advice channels or videos and they're not in a relationship, it doesn't mean that their advice is useless. It means that you could learn or take something from what they're giving or saying, and you can learn what not to do or what to do for real, because someone's status on paper or like their tangible possessions doesn't really make a person, or like how they really look or where they're from doesn't really sum up who they are as an individual. So you don't want to feel like somebody's input in the world or like addition to the world is not valid just because of how you perceive them. Like, some people take offense to some things that you have to say unintentionally or intentionally, and they intentionally or unintentionally misinterpret or misunderstand what you're saying and what you mean because of their own perception of the world or untouched trauma that many, if not all people have. And so that's an internal job for each individual person to figure out what they're absorbing from someone and what they can take from that. And I feel like at the end of the day, there's always something to take away from something that you either agree with or don't agree with, or that you see useful or not. Like, brain rot content is not actually something that should be totally disregarded, because sometimes people can be too serious, and you don't want to feel like life can't be fun or can't be so serious or like so grim. I mean, I used to be the type of person, honestly, when TikTok first came out, I never used TikTok until like years later. Especially Musically, I never used Musically. So when TikTok first was like a popping thing, I was one of those people that my pride didn't let me use TikTok because everybody else was using it, and everybody else, all they want to do is dance and sing and talk shit and blah blah blah. And I used to think to myself, I don't want to be part of that crowd, like just people having fun. And then I didn't say it like that. I said it like, I don't want to brain rot, because I feel like I would be perceived better as a person if I'm just different. But then you don't want to be like, so like full of it, because maybe you feel like not so confident about what your input would do for the app or for the platform or for the audience or a specific audience. It's like there's somebody for everybody, and you can help people feel better just existing sometimes, or just talking about something you think is not so helpful or useful. And so you can also help people just sometimes when you fail, even failure can help or inspire other people, because it would confirm that people aren't so perfect and they don't have to be, and you don't have to have all the answers, and or even if you know a lot about something, that doesn't mean you have to move like a robot and expect like having an understanding of something be an excuse for accepting BS or just not still being yourself. Because beyond like who you think you should be, there's still a you underneath all that. There's still like you outside of the internet or what other people think or what you think you should be, basically. Like, and then another pet peeve I have is people trying too hard to be like mean or like try to get your attention to be mean. So you ever been in a predicament where you feel like you're not paying attention to a recurrent or reoccurrent bully, or like somebody trying to like put you down, or like I'm saying, like maybe in school settings or work settings where you feel like somebody, they stop at nothing to try to like get a rise out of you. Now there's a difference between somebody doing that to be silly and somebody repeatedly doing that. And if you ever noticed, like I said in a previous video, you don't pay them no mind, and that makes somebody more upset, because sometimes people just want that confirmation that you're the problem, or like whatever internal issues that they're dealing with has everything to do with you and not how they, like I said, perceive the world or perceive themselves. So they would place this unnecessary blame on your existence or like your way of living or thinking. And so when you don't pay it no mind and they go 10 times harder, it's just it leads to more aggressive, or no, what is it, more of them trying to be an aggressor. And that's not to say that anybody is a bad person or like messed up or that they really want to do that. I just feel like some people are not used to calm or neutral resolves and things that don't involve violence, or like somebody ending up a loser and somebody ending up a winner. And then some people cannot fathom the fact that there can be multiple winners at once, and that failure is not actual failure, it's actually a redirection. You know what I'm saying? So some people put themselves on a scale in comparison to other people, and they feel like if they're not at the top or deemed the best at something, they just automatically internalize that and try to maybe put others down to feel better about themselves. I don't know why, but really honestly, that's not the type of reality you want to live. And you don't want to feel like putting somebody else down is going to make you feel better, because you're not going to feel better. That comparison mentality alone is a thief of your joy. And even if you feel better than someone, the next time you run into somebody that you perceive as better than you, you're going to feel like it's a never-ending turmoil or battle. And honestly, you shouldn't really go out of your way to be mean to people, because you really never know what somebody's going through. Like, you could think somebody looks like this and has a life like that, and they have money or they don't have money, they have the looks, and or they don't have the looks, they have something that you probably desire or they don't, or they could have something that you desire or they don't. The point is, like, everybody has experiences in life that make them the person they are, and there's a lot of really kind people that you would be surprised don't have the mentality of stepping on the next person to succeed, even if they look like they achieved success faster than maybe the next person, or maybe something in success in something that you probably desire to achieve success in. I feel like the world would be a better place if people, instead of judging or having this crab in a barrel mentality, instead of trying to pull somebody down to get up, it would be better if people work kind of together and give each other pointers and share and care and want to see somebody else succeed, which would then circle back in your life. Another pet peeve of mine is like false forgiveness, right? So when someone, let's say in a relationship standpoint, or like a parent or a child, or like a friend, or like I don't know, anybody, anything. When someone acts like they forgive you for something and really they're holding a grudge deep down. Now, I'm not saying you're not allowed to do that and you're allowed to have your feelings, but I feel like if you have a goal with someone in your life, anyone in your life, whether that's your workplace or your friends or your family or like your partner or your whatever, whoever, it's okay to have things to work on and have feelings that reside inside you and really be working on it and not drowning it out or thinking you're working on it and you're really not. So like, I'm somebody that kind of struggles with that in a small amount, because there's times where I felt like I really I used to be in the type of relationships where it's like I would try to forget about something but not actually forgive. So I've learned recently to empathize with where people are and what I don't know about somebody's situation and how they perceive the world and where they come from and how they feel about themselves and people and things and what they might have gone through, which makes them act the way they act or think the way they think. I've worked on empathizing and sympathizing and having compassion for people, even if I'm really upset or I'm really not agreeing with everything that they are about or do, because I feel like if you give what you want from somebody, you will definitely get that back, you know? And I've been in relationships before where, yeah, like I said, I would just tell myself, oh, just not thinking about it is gonna help, and drowning out feelings so I don't act out is just brushing it under the rug, and then you're just saving it for a later time. So I've learned to actually fix my heart space and forgive things because I know and I feel like I get where you're coming from. And I'm not trying to make you feel like a bad person for X, Y, or Z, or like you can't change, because I feel like change and forgiveness is possible for everyone. And it's better to forgive but not forget, instead of trying to forget and not forgive, because focusing so hard on trying to forget someone or something that happened, or you know what I'm saying, that's giving attention to the very thing that you're trying so hard to forget or not forgive. And you might as well forgive, because that's just holding space in your chest and in your life. And you would carry that mentality with you anywhere you go because it's a focus. It's a set focus. It's like if I think about don't lose my keys, don't lose my keys, don't lose my keys, and then I end up losing them, but I said don't forget or lose my keys. It's because the keywords there are forget and keys. And I feel like if you ever know or knew the laws of manifestation, the universe don't care about the don't or the no or the if or ands or buts. It cares about the key words. So you want to really focus on forgiveness and what you want to happen in your life, like freedom or peace, or like moving forward, and try to do that. Because just saying I hope I don't forget my keys, I hope I don't forget my keys, you might end up losing them somewhere because you're just calling in naturally the potential of losing your keys. Generalizing. So I'll keep this short because I know this video is probably going to be like 30-40 minutes. But generalizing, I just don't like generalizing. I don't like people saying all black people move like this, think like this, act like this. All white people move like this, think like this, act like this. I don't like thinking like, oh, if somebody doesn't speak English, they're this or that, or if they don't go to school, or if they don't have a job, they're just generally trash. They're just like, I don't really think like that. I hate generalizations. Like, the world is so large and it's so full of like different people moving at different paces and coming from different places and doing what they know best, or they're generally, no pun intended, like a product of their environment. And it's not to make excuses for people or enable people for life. It's just to grasp like the context of a situation or an individual, like a book, right? If I read chapter 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and I keep going back to chapter 1, even though I already read chapter 1 like a million times, I still want to be able to understand perfectly how it got to chapter 2, 3, and 4, and 5. I'm not going to say chapters 3 and 4 got really hectic, so chapter 1 doesn't matter. I'm going to say, okay, I really understand why. And from that slew of chapters, we can make chapter 6 better. If you're generalizing people based off of your own past experience and you're making that what life should be, and you're not allowing things to change or change to occur, like when we birth new people in the world and they come back and we relearn chapter 1 through 5 is basically what I'm saying, and you keep reminding them of chapter 1 instead of letting them create chapter 6. That's what I mean. And the next one is assuming that just because somebody's single, it's a bad thing, or like they're a bad person, or they just don't like themselves or like people, or like the idea of like being with someone. Like, I've been the type of person that's kind of really, 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 really picky, and then people have made me out to be like this mean or ungrateful person because I just don't succumb to certain dynamics so soon, or I just didn't settle, or just didn't write in stone that I should be living my life this certain way or taking on these certain roles. You know what I'm saying? And people that are single are usually perceived as like bitter or like negative, or like taking advice, for example, from people that are single or like in happy and or unhappy relationships. People perceive that shit how they want to. It's like, for example, if I was a single person giving advice on what I should or shouldn't do in a relationship, and someone who wants to be in one would tell themselves they shouldn't take advice from someone single who said I was single and unhappy. If somebody's single and they're working on themselves and they're not making that the whole world's problem, like generally not trying to see people happy and things like that, just because they're not, that doesn't, you know what I'm saying? That's not the same thing. It's like there's some people that aren't lonely in their own presence, or like lonely meaning like in despair. It means they know who they are and they're trying to learn who they are, and they're trying to make sure that they're a happy or content person, because happy is like an emotion, right? It's like a fleeting emotion. You get sad, you get happy, you get angry, you whatever. Content meaning, even if I'm upset in this moment, or if I feel like this in this moment, or if I would like this or that in that moment, it doesn't mean that I'm always happy or I'm always sad. It means I'm grateful for where I am in life, and I'm grateful for what could be or what was, and I'm content with the spot I'm in and where things could go. And then I'm content with my physicality and my mindset and how I am as a person and who I could attract. It's not a bad thing to be single or in a relationship, because there are very, very happy ones and very, very miserable ones. And you can't just assume somebody's successful just because they're in a relationship, or successful because they're single, or unsuccessful because they're single, or unsuccessful because they're in something that they possibly or potentially settled for. You know, you can't just assume that just because you would feel a way about something doesn't mean the next person thinks like you. And then the next one is assuming someone's sexual orientation. Like, I feel like there's dudes like that get accused of being a certain way because they just don't dress how a typical traditional guy dresses, and there's girls that get perceived a certain way because they just don't try to chase men or rush into a relationship. They're just accused of being like, you know, somebody that they're not. Like, if I don't do my nails and do my hair every day, and if I dress in baggy clothes, that type of shit, I'm just assumed to be this lonely person, or like this like type of woman that doesn't want to attract men. And that's not really true or fair, because I'm attracted to what I'm attracted to and I do what I do. I just don't like the wrong types of men that objectify women and feel like how I look is more important than who I am, basically. And then there's men that's on that other side of this shit, right? Where it's like, if they just talk a little differently, or like they are tapped into their femininity a little bit, and they know how to be around women and respect women, talking about decency, human decency, or just appreciating women, they're just assumed to be the G word, the F word. Like, they're just a simp. I don't know why we've created this idea that a man showing appreciation or admiration for women and or their minds or their body as a simp, and as it's almost as if being a simp is a bad thing anyway. Like, people can be what they want to be. I feel like I noticed simp type dudes are happier than people or dudes trying so hard to be a-holes. Like, yeah, there's that saying, happy wife, happy life, but those simps are making that person happy that they're with, which would make them happy to see someone respected and happy. So I don't know. I feel like assuming someone's sexual orientation just off of how they dress or how they talk or how they move with the opposite sex or the same sex is not really cool. It's like, if somebody says that they're this way and they are, it is what it is. And your past experiences and things like that don't write in stone who somebody is. Like, you can't just say, oh, that ninja because he wears pink, or he has long hair, or like he respects women's opinions and lets women be themselves. They don't expect a woman to have her titties out and nails long and hair did, everything did. It's not that. And women aren't just, not into men because they're not appealing to the societal male standards on a daily basis. And I feel like people that overcompensate so much, for real, are really what they project, because they're so focused on what somebody thinks of them or what someone would think about them if they moved like that. I've had experiences where there's jokes, right? And it's like, oh, they might be like this one day, or they might do this one day, and it's like, no, I just move like this right now, and you don't really know what I am or what I'm like. But yeah, people can make jokes. I'm just saying, don't assume somebody's sexual orientation just off of like a quick perception or like what you feel like you're trying to convey when you do said things or particular things. It's really good to like understand why you think the way you think, or why you would project that onto somebody, and being honest with yourself. And then the next one is the last one, I think. It's going to be, if somebody is attracted to someone of a smaller build or a smaller frame, automatically being accused of being a PDF. Now, pause. I know there are weird people that do genuinely target people of a certain caliber because they're weird. Basically, when I say weird, like, they know that they shouldn't do that. But honestly, I've seen so many videos of, like, let's say, like, catching predators and, like, what else? Like, catching cheaters, etc., right? Okay, we've seen those types of things. And I've also been to high school and middle school and college. I've been to work. I've been in the world. I've been myself. And I'm a petite built person. I'm a petite built adult. So I have experiences with different sized men, and you know what I'm saying, I never really felt like somebody was strange around me or on some weird ish, or trying to be. So I feel like not all children look like small framed people. Sometimes children grow up fast and they grow tall fast, or some girls are tall at a certain age and they're more curvy at a certain age, and some dudes they get a beard early and they do certain things early. This is outside of maybe someone lying about their age, like actually, not like the excuses that PDFs make online when they get caught. I'm talking about when people actually lie about their age. So there's children that don't really sometimes look like their age, and then there's adults sometimes that don't look like their age. They're not always big and tall and curvy AF and super, I'm saying, they don't look like what you would typically assume. So I feel like if somebody's attracted to someone of a petite build and they're an adult, a healthy-minded adult, and they're just not around the same size as that person, and they just don't want to be accused of being a PDF, I feel like it's okay to let that person be attracted to someone of a petite build, so long as they're not constantly targeting petite built people with this childlike mentality. Because I feel like it's a difference between being attracted to, God forbid, like children, like just because they're children. For example, I've seen those videos where they don't look like children, but the fact that they are under 18 is just enough for these greasy ass gross people to target. And I've seen people that look like they're probably younger, and they have a grown mentality. Like, they think like an adult, they act like an adult for the most part. And that wouldn't be enough for a PDF, because they just stuck on the fact that somebody isn't grown. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you have ever struggled with like being attracted to somebody that's smaller, man or woman, or they just look young, and you just feel like you're gonna be seen as weird, you shouldn't have to worry about that, because you know that they're not a child. And or like I said like before, age gaps and things like that. It's like, don't put yourself in a box that you're not in, basically. Because I know people struggle with that type of thing. Like, they care so much, they don't want to be even thought of like that. It's like, yeah, then don't do the things that those PDFs do. Meaning, don't just know that you're not that. I used to kind of struggle with like over sexualizing myself, because I felt like if I look young already, and people assume I'm like 15 or whatever the F, they're not gonna try to talk to me, because who the hell would put themselves at risk like that, right? But it's like I said, that's where communication comes in, and then thinking, and like just knowing that you're not a child, and then knowing that somebody else is not a weirdo, basically. A PDF is gonna be a PDF. It don't matter what they look like. There's children that look older than me. There's adults that look younger than me. For real, like people with conditions where they're like 30-something years old, and they're like 4 or 5, and they have to live a whole life of like trying to figure that out. And I empathize with that, because I don't look super young, really. Like, I just, you know what I'm saying, don't have a certain body type. But that doesn't mean I'm a child. It doesn't mean I act like a child or want to act like a child. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean that somebody's a PDF because they might be attracted to me. It means they're attracted to me. The adult that I am. Side note. I'm sorry. One time. I'm sorry. Alright, one time I was hanging out with somebody, like in like this park, and my ass was like 20 years old. I was 20 AF, alright? Swear down, bruh. And the person I was hanging out with was assumably 21 or 22. Assumably. Man. The every police pulled up. And it was late. It was late. And they said, yo, what's going on, bruh? So we was chilling in the car. And I had like, I was wearing my comfortable clothes. But I didn't have my shoes on. So I was like, I really want to do this in the cold. Anyway, they pulled up. And they made us leave the car because we weren't supposed to be at the park after hours. It wasn't that late. It was like 11, 12 a.m. It was 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. And they pulled up and made us get out the car. And they checked the man's ID. His ID said what it said. And I don't think I had my ID on me at the time. I don't know why. If I didn't, if I had possession of it in general, I don't know why I didn't have it that day. God. Anyway, I just remember something was off. So they asked how old I was, and they kept trying to figure out if I was actually 20 years old, and they were trying to make dude feel like is this girl actually 20 years old? Because I'm scared. And I just had to let them know what my name was so that they could try to find me in the system or whatever. And it was just the fact that they kept saying, are you sure you're 20? Are you sure you're 20 years old? And I was just like, what the fuck is he? Now, but for real, I only emphasize that because I used to feel like if I dated people that looked a lot bigger than me physically, then I would be unintentionally getting them in some hot water that they shouldn't be in because people just assume and judge. And then I was just giving them more supporting details about the fact that I think I was in college, or just the fact that I graduated high school, and like it was just funny. It was just funny, a little bit funny, because I was just like, this is why I don't try to date people, because honestly I used to struggle with trying to figure out if somebody that I was dating was actually attracted to me, or like because I look a certain way. It was really hard to actually genuinely figure that out sometimes. And I had all types of people in my dating realm that just looked different. They were either tall or short, but they like looked a certain way or didn't look a certain way. So I used to struggle with feeling like, who should I be with in general? Because you want to make sure if you have life plans and goals, like to start a family or whatever with somebody or something, their mind is healthy at least, and their behavior is healthy, and like You don't want them to be spiraling into a PlayStation. Like, basically, like, you want to make sure you're dating somebody that's a double thumbs up, not like a and shit. So, not like a. But anyway, hopefully some of these were helpful, and then you know you don't have to feel like some of these topics are just black or white. Like, they're just stuck on people, just stuck on like the old paradigms of thinking. Is like, I promise you, there's people in the world that have brains that expand like this. You know what I'm saying? There's people in the world that don't watch TV and program themselves with the typical shit, and it's kind of giving, you gotta metal detect that shit. It's kind of giving, you have to dig in some dirt. But it's okay. It's okay. Also, don't be mean to people unless they're being mean to you. But honestly, at the same time though, I'm still struggling with this. If somebody's mean to you, just don't be mean back, because then they're gonna think that you actually think what you said, and you just said it just to rebuttal, and you just nobody wants to be mean. I appreciate adults. I don't care if they're short, I don't care if they're tall or black or green or orange or silver or yellow or white or fucking purple or fat or skinny. But honestly, I have a big back mentality. Like, if I wanted to, bitch, I would be eating all day. I know my stomach, so I don't. But I'm telling you, I don't judge. Just rambling now. Like, child. If I really wanted to, I would hurt myself. And I don't want to, but I would, because my stress eating habit is bad. It used to be so bad. I used to sit and eat like bags and bags of snacks as a teenager though. But child, if I didn't clock that shit early, my back would have been big. I'm telling you. Like, I used to literally go to Big Lots, and man, they used to have like packs of fucking cookies and chips for like $2.50. I used to be like, this is perfect. And I didn't smoke or anything yet. I used to be like, oh, just swipe the shelf. No, but don't do that. Don't do that, bro. Cause it's like, you're gonna pay for it later. You're gonna be mad as shit. And you're gonna be like, why didn't I just do yoga or something or exercise? Okay? Don't do that. I'm just gonna include this just because it's just, if you gonna do what you need to do, just take your time. Just take your time.